We are on Shabbat, Perek Vav, Mishnah Vav. We continue to discuss the different items that a person can or cannot wear on Shabbat to go outside. When is it considered carrying it, and when is it considered wearing? Says the Mishnah, Yotza Bisela Shalatzili. Tzilid is an injury she has on her foot. So they would take a smooth rock and they would stick it on the bottom of the foot, and then they would walk around. They would tape it or connect it or tie it around the bottom of their foot, and that would, they felt, heal the injury, the petza. Okay, it's a makah. Okay, so habanot kitanot. It's the next thing. Habanot kitanot yotzot bechutim. Small girls, what they would do is they would pierce their ears, and then they wouldn't have hoops or earrings because they were too young. But then they would put in chutim. They would put in some kind of string in there. Va'afilu b'kismin sheba'azneim. Even a kesam. Kesam today means toothpick, but it's kind of it's a splinter of some kind, like just a little shard of wood. And they would stick it in their ears so that they would not close up afterwards. When they finally got married, they would have their holes there. Why would they do this? Girls probably wanted to have earrings. So that's the way all the girls walked around, so it's wasn't considered carrying on Shabbat. Arabiyot yotzot re'ulot. Women from Arabian countries, they can go out, re'ulot. Let's look at the Bartanura. Me'utafot baroshan upnehem mechusot chutz min ha'einayim. So they're wrapped in their heads, and their faces were covered except for the eyes. So I found a nice website. We call that a niqab, right? They're totally wrapped, so they can, and their faces are. So that's how the Jewish women in Arabian countries went out, because that's the minhag hamakom. It wasn't the Jewish minhag, but that was the minhag hamakom. Okay, and that's the Arabian women. Umadiyot prupot, ma'adiyot. Okay, and the women from Madai would go prupot. What is prupot? Shemit atfot betalit. Okay, they would wrap themselves in a talit, and we'll see what prupot means, and we'll see exactly what it means. So let's read the Bartanura, and then I'll explain it in the next Mishnah. V'tolot ritzu'ah bisfata acha kedeget tzavara, ubisfata sheni korechet even o egos. So I'll show you in this Mishnah. So they had a little talit. They wrapped themselves around their head. I'm just using a sheet. I don't know how they did this. Okay, and then they would take a rock. I lost my rock. They would take a rock. Here we go. Not a rock. They would take a rock and they would wrap it in here. Okay, they would stick the rock in, and then they would take this other side, and then they would wrap it around like that. And that's how they used the rock, and then it would just stay. That's how they would keep it. I guess they would do it on the side or the shoulder, but they would use this thing as a kind of anchor. And the next Mishnah, we're going to talk about the use of this rock. Okay, and that's prupot. So the madayot women, they would walk around with, I guess, this chimar, or whatever they call it, or a shador, a full body cloak. How do you get it to stay? So now we know, according to the time in the Mishnah, how they would get it to stay. So the Mishnah says, and that's why it says Arabiyot would go re'ulot, they would go fully covered, except for the eyes. Madiyot, and in Madai, prupot, they would wear only the whole body covering. One of these, I guess, or one of these. I don't know which one it is. But the Mishnah says it doesn't just refer, we're not just talking about the women from Arav and Madai. It's v'chol adam, it really refers to any person. The reason we said this we said Arabiyot and Madiyot is because that was the actual term at the time. But really, if anybody wants to walk out, you don't have to be from Madai to walk out prupot with your coat, with your coat or your thing wrapped up in the way that we discussed. We'll stop here. If you have any comments or questions, feel free to contact me at my email address, arspalter@gmail.com, and we'll dedicate our learning to the memory of my father, Harav Simcha Ben Yitzchak Kalman. Have a great day.